Hello, hello, happy Monday, and welcome to Making Waves with Moanna Adams. I'm your host, Moanna, a teenage girl with a lot to say and a lot more to learn. Today, we are talking all things pageantry and building a platform with Izzy Karns. Izzy is going to introduce herself and tell us who she is and what she does.
Hey everyone, my name is Izzy Karns, and I just recently was crowned Miss Mississippi Teen Volunteer. So I'm really excited to continue my year and advocate for my organization, Choose Rescue, where I advocate for shelter pets and shelter pet adoption. And I am going into my freshman year at the University of Southern Mississippi, where I will be majoring in strategic communications with an emphasis in social media. I have a social media business called Let's Get Social, where I help individuals and businesses really thrive on social media. So that's kind of my happy place, and I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for having me on.
Of course, and we're going to start out with current obsession. This is our first segment, and it is something about or in your life that you're currently loving. This week, mine is my Kodak PixPro FZ45 camera. I love this thing. I keep it in my purse and bring it with me everywhere. It's super compact and really easy to use, and it's my favorite thing. It's definitely not a, Canon G7X, but it's a good second.
That's so funny because for my birthday and graduation, I asked for a camera, and my mom got me the Canon EOS R50. I'm obsessed with it. I swear it like steps up the Instagram game a lot. So my current obsession is makeup. I have been really having to learn how to do my makeup good during my year. Being a title holder, you have to, look presentable at appearances. And so I have purchased a lot of makeup recently. My bank account is struggling, but I'm loving all the new things. My favorite thing is probably my new NARS foundation. I am a greasy girl. So having that foundation really just keeps me matte all day, and I'm loving that. And I also am binging Grey's Anatomy always. I've rewatched it like a million times. If you've never seen it, you have to watch it. It's phenomenal.
I haven't seen it yet. I grew up like always coming home from school and my mom would be watching it, so I'll have to watch it. And
Yes.
I have learned so much over the last year about makeup because I am not like a makeup girl. I'm very like light natural, and so I've definitely like starting to do pageantry learned so much.
Yes.
And then we'll do our high tide, and this is a motivational and self-help rec. And this week mine is Spencer Barbosa. I talk about Spencer all the time on here, and she is someone that I think is such a great role model and someone who inspired me to learn about self-love way before, 3, 4 years ago before I started the podcast. And I think she's a really great person to follow and look up to.
Absolutely. I see her on my For You page all the time. So I always like her videos whenever they come up on my feed. And then my current high tide is the Whoa, That's Good podcast by Sadie Robertson. I actually learned about her from Duck Dynasty, and I used to watch that growing up. But she's really a phenomenal person. She just kind of inspires me in my walk of faith because she's so dedicated, and it really does allow me to just see her different perspectives inspires me a lot. And I also am a big fan of listening to Christian music whenever I'm happy, but also whenever I'm like struggling and I'm stressed out. It's really nice to just kind of ground myself by listening to music. Music really speaks to me. So I love listening to my Christian music playlist.
I'm definitely a music girly. I love that. So let's get into the episode and talk about Izzy. What inspired you to start competing in pageants?
So it's really funny because I used to be the girl who didn't want to do anything by myself. And I was all about if I was going to do something, I had to have a friend there with me doing it as well. And I remember in middle school, my mom signed me up for an art class, and I had to go to it by myself. And I was miserable because I just relied so much on having other people with me, and I was very codependent. But one day my mom asked me if I wanted to do a pageant she had seen on Facebook. And I don't know what convinced me to say yes, but I just agreed and kind of went for it, stepped out of my comfort zone. And it really was the best decision I could have ever made. Like I said, I have no clue why I agreed, but after I did it, I think I was kind of hooked on pageants.
I love that. I think pageants are such a great way to step out of your comfort zone, and that's the reason that I competed just 2 months ago. How did you find the courage to take the first step, especially like you said, like always needing someone by your side? Pageants take a lot of bravery and courage to get on that stage. So, how did you find the courage to take that step?
Well, I had always done like my school pageants, and in elementary school and middle school, I was a big fan of school pageants. But it was really hard for me because I won my sixth grade beauty review, and then I competed in my seventh grade beauty review as well, and I won that one also. And a lot of people were saying that I paid the judges and that it was rigged. And that's just like crazy to me because it's a school pageant. It's not that deep. And I had like never competed in a pageant before. And I think that I was just so scared because I didn't want to be judged by other people. And like I mentioned earlier, I was really into like having people do stuff with me. And I also really relied a lot on the validation of others. And just making that decision to step out of my comfort zone must have just been a God thing because it's led me to where I am today. And it truly has changed me as a person and like taught me so much confidence. And I know you've probably experienced that as well, just starting and doing your pageant. So it really does change your life. And I'm extremely grateful for the journey and just being able to step into a different role and allow it to lead you to where you are now.
So, where did Choose Rescue come in, and how did pageantry prompt you to build your platform?
So I actually grew up, my mom and my Nana were really involved at our local animal shelters. And so I kind of was exposed to that from a very young age. And I actually had my 10th birthday party at the animal shelter. So me and my friends volunteered together. And it was not a glamorous birthday party, as I'm sure you can imagine, because we were in nasty boots and we were scrubbing kennels. But it was a lot of fun. And I asked for only donations for my 10th birthday party. So I didn't get any birthday presents, just donations for the animal shelter. And whenever I started pageants, I kind of realized that it gave me like a voice and a platform to expand on things that I'm passionate about. And I knew that what I wanted to advocate for was Choose Rescue. And so that's kind of where that came in. And I've been able to raise right around $19,000 for animal shelters across my state and the nation. So it's been great and it continues to grow. And I'm really grateful that now I get to advocate for it on a state basis.
That's incredible. So, as you've worked and built up your platform and competed in pageants, who have been your role models and why?
Well, I have to say that the person who has encouraged me the most has definitely been my mom. She's always there for me, and she kind of inspired my organization, Choose Rescue, as well. So I'm extremely grateful for her, and I definitely would not be who I am today without her and her just teaching me her work ethic. She's the most hardworking person that I know. But I also am a really big fan of my cousin, Kiana. She was homeless in high school and she ended up moving in with us, and she worked really, really hard, just persevering and never letting her circumstances define her success. And she's been a big role in my life through pageantry and just inspiring me to keep going, even whenever it does get hard, because you don't always walk away with the crown and you experience some lows. But, you know, in the lows, she's always been there for me and she helps me get to my highs.
So, when you're in these lows, like you said, you don't always win the crown, there's going to be losses. How do you handle self doubt and fear?
So I think that one really big thing is just being able to take a step back and reflect on whatever the situation may be. So I competed for 3 years before I won my first title. And that was really difficult for me because I've met a lot of friends through pageantry and I've been able to follow their journeys and watch them win their crowns. But I always wondered, like, when was it going to be my time? And it's really easy to let that self doubt creep in, but it's important to take that step back and to remember that God has a plan for you. You have a purpose. And whenever you take that step back and you see the bigger picture, it always turns out and it always works out exactly the way that it should have been. And last year I competed for Miss Mississippi Teen Volunteer and I was first runner up. And looking back now, I wanted to win so badly last year, but I am much more equipped to be a better title holder this year. And it's all part of the journey. And really, God won't lead you anywhere that you're not supposed to be.
So, as you've competed over the years and you haven't come home with the crown until now, what obstacles did you face along the way?
I think that one of the big things would be just self doubt, but also overcoming the ideas that I thought I wasn't a good speaker and the ideas that I wasn't meant for something, because I think that every experience that you go through allows you to grow so much. And so I'm really grateful for every experience that I went through, and even experiencing those difficult times has shaped me into who I am today.
So, as you've grown and built Choose Rescue and your platform, how has competing in pageants and building your platform influenced your personal growth and mindset?
Well, before I started competing in pageants, I was really shy. And like I said, I always kind of was looking for my self worth, but I was seeking it through the validation of others. And being able to compete in pageants has allowed me to step out of my comfort zone in so many ways. And I would say one of the biggest things is that it has taught me so much confidence in myself, because I used to not be able to sit here and I wouldn't be able to talk to you and I wouldn't be able to have a conversation with you. But now I just feel so much more empowered and like I truly am capable. And so being able to have those experiences has been incredible, and I'm really grateful for everything that pageantry has given me. There's a lot of negative stigmas around it, but it has so much more positives than negatives.
What do you say to people who, talk about these negative impacts that pageantry can have and stereotypes that we see a lot of?
Well, I think that if people have like a negative conception of pageantry, they definitely have never known anybody who's competed before, and they've definitely never competed themselves, because for me it has opened so many doors. I've been able to make an impact in my community, raising over $19,000 for animal shelters and volunteering all of the time. I have so many great opportunities to go across my state and make an impact. And I also have been able to network so much. And this will help me in my future career with interviews and with knowing people and having those connections. And truly, it does create like a well rounded person, because it emphasizes all of the things that a leader should be and allows you to just go on a journey of self growth.
While you're holding a title and, you're being a community leader, how do you stay authentic and maintain your sense of self while holding a title that has such a deep history?
Like I said, I am the owner of a social media business called Let's Get Social. And so I really enjoy social media. And one of my favorite things to do is to make TikToks. And it's really funny because whenever TikTok first started coming out, I would not post on TikTok. It was like a year of TikTok being a thing that I would make drafts and just save them to my drafts because I didn't want anybody to see my content. But now I've really been able to use it as an opportunity to kind of express myself and to be creative. So I get to edit these videos and post them on TikTok, and then seeing people like my friends and people that I've met through pageants and through life be able to comment on my videos, and they always hype me up. It really does allow me to just kind of express my creativity.
So, running your business, being a student, being a title holder, how do you stay productive and maintain balance?
I think that one thing for me that's really important is having a schedule and a planner, because I have to be organized or my life goes to chaos. So I write every single thing down, and I am always talking to my mom. We're comparing schedules, and it really just keeps me online, having everything written out, organized, and just keeping that time for myself as well, working that into the schedule.
I love that. That's definitely how I am, is making sure that everything is down on paper, needs to be in the calendar.
Absolutely.
How do you build these friendships like you were talking about earlier, connecting on social media with the girls you meet at pageants? How do you network and build friendships while still being a fierce competitor?
I think that you kind of have to step away from the idea that it's a competition. Whenever I first started pageants, I was the girl who would stalk every single person, and I would make a list of their strengths, their weaknesses, what they were up to, what they've accomplished. And that was really negative for me. I have to just kind of go into it remembering that competition is more about making those friendships and making those memories, and it's not about walking away with a crown, because if you go into it with an open mind, you walk away with so much more than a crown can ever give you. And so one of the ways that I've made a lot of my friends is through my coach. She has a lot of girls that she coaches, and in my pageant that I competed in before Miss Mississippi Teen Volunteer, she was coaching 8 of us out of almost 20 girls. And so knowing that she is a really good coach and that she was teaching all of these girls the same skills and the same techniques to use in the interview room and to use on stage, that can be a mental game, because you know that they are all just as equipped as you. But it's more important to look at the thing as a big picture and to remember that if you walk away with friendships and if you truly are a good friend during the competition, that you'll walk away with so much more, and it's not about walking away with the crown.
How do you deal with comparison, especially when these girls are all being trained by, someone, your coach, you have to be able to trust your coach, and she's training other girls to do the same thing that you are, and you're surrounded by all these, very accomplished, smart, beautiful, strong women. How do you deal with comparison?
I used to compare myself a lot, and that was a really negative headspace. And I think that it held me back a lot and didn't allow me to reach my full potential, because if I'm stuck looking at everything that everybody else is accomplishing all day long, then I'm not going to feel as confident about the things that I'm accomplishing. And so I've kind of had to step away from comparison. And whenever those thoughts do creep into my mind, I have to remind myself that I am just as good as every single one of these girls, and that we're all made in the image of God, and that we're all perfect in his eyes. And I think that one thing that has helped me a lot, which it might sound kind of silly, but doing daily affirmations seriously does make such a big difference. So standing in the mirror and telling yourself that you are smart, you are capable, you are strong, you are loved, that truly does make a difference, because it reminds you that you have everything that everybody else has, and you just have to stay on the right mindset.
Focusing on yourself rather than what everyone else is doing.
Absolutely.
So let's shift over to making waves. What does making a difference mean to you?
I think that making a difference can look different for every single person, but for me, it means, getting into my community and advocating for the things that I find important. So not a lot of people have platforms about advocating for shelter pets and shelter pet adoption, but for me, that's something that's really important to me. And so being able to spread awareness for the things that are happening in shelters every single day. So for example, we're currently in a nationwide animal welfare crisis, and not a lot of people know that. Shelters are overwhelmed, they're struggling, they're overflowing with animals that need homes, and it's really difficult for them right now, and it's leading to a lot of healthy dogs and cats having to be euthanized, just for the plain fact that there's not space for them. And meanwhile, people are buying from breeders, and breeders are breeding more animals, and it's just really fine line of just trying to educate people, but also not step on any toes, because it's difficult. I know a lot of judges that I've had over the years have had animals that they've bought from breeders. So it's really difficult in the interview room, but just being able to educate people in the nicest way, and kind of share this idea that not a lot of people have ever thought about.
So, what waves do you hope to make through your work working with shelter animals?
I really just want to educate more people, because I think that the first step in kind of solving these issues would be educating people. And it's mostly in the southern states. A lot of shelters in the north don't really have these issues. I think because strays in the north during the winter, they don't survive during the winter. And so just being able to educate people and open their eyes to these ideas.
So, to anybody who's listening, the teenagers listening to this who are interested in pursuing pageantry or building a platform, what advice would you give them?
Absolutely, just go for it. I think that there's no right way to go about it. You just kind of have to jump in head first, and that's exactly what I did. And you're going to experience a lot of defeat. The first pageant that I competed in, I didn't place at all, and I definitely didn't walk away with the crown. And watching those videos back now, it's insane the amount of growth that I've been able to experience. So definitely just jump in. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid of what other people have to say about you, because everybody's going to find something negative, or people are always going to find something negative to say about you. So you might as well allow them to say negative things about you while you're chasing your dreams. So go for it, find something that you're passionate about, and advocate for it, and really allow the experience to give you a platform to speak about the things that you're passionate about. And don't go in it for the crown, just go in it to experience new things, make friends, grow as a person.
Looking back at yourself and the person that you were when you started pageantry, what is one thing you wish you knew when you started?
I wish that there was somebody there to tell me that it was all going to work out and it was all going to be okay, because I was in a really low point in my life whenever I first started pageants. I was struggling a lot with people at school talking bad about me, and I even experienced more of that once I started pageants. It wasn't always easy, and I didn't ever have many friends. I was in a class of over 400 people, and I had one friend at my high school. And I think that little me was just so scared of what everybody else had to say about her. And that's something that we've grown into and that I've been able to kind of get past. So just go into it with an open mind and never let anybody else talk bad about you or stop you from chasing your dreams.
As you've overcome these past challenges, what new challenges are you looking forward to?
Well, I am about to start preparing for the national pageant, which happens in March in Jackson, Tennessee. And so I know that that will come with its challenges, and there will be hard times whenever I am working on interview prep and just trying to overcome a lot of the mental game that comes with it. So I'm excited for that. I'm ready to get started, but it's going to come with its challenges, but nothing that I won't be able to overcome.
How do you stay motivated as you're prepping for interview and pushing to go to nationals?
Definitely giving yourself that grace and taking a step back when it's necessary. I think that there can be burnout whenever you just prepare 24/7 and never give yourself a break. And so for the past month since I've been crowned, I haven't done any preparation for nationals at all. And that time has been really nice because I feel like it's allowed me to kind of see the things that I truly do love about pageantry, which is volunteerism and getting in your community and meeting new people and making a difference. And that has really fueled me, and now I'm just getting more and more excited to start prep and to get back into the swing of working on interview and stage. So just giving yourself that time is really important.
As you prep for nationals and beyond, how do you plan to continue making waves and leave a legacy?
I think that just by being my authentic self and, like I said, continuing in my community, it's going to leave a legacy in and of itself. I want to be remembered for more than just being Miss Mississippi Teen Volunteer, but I want people to remember me as Izzy, and I want to leave that legacy as myself. And I think one of the ways that I can do that is just by being a real title holder, being my funny and bubbly self, even whenever I feel like I should be serious, because people will enjoy your presence more if you're just being yourself. They don't want to see some fake version of somebody. So just being myself.
And where can we find you online and connect with you?
My Instagram is at underscore Izzy Karns or at Miss MS Teen Volunteer. And you can find me on Facebook at Izzy Karns.
Amazing. All those links will be in the episode notes. For this week's homework, if you had to start over, what are the first steps you would take, or what can listeners do right now to implement what we discussed?
I think the first thing that I would do if I had to start over would be prep a little bit more, because for my first pageant, I didn't do any prep at all. And like I said, I didn't place at all. But after finding a really good coach who encouraged me and who has been a great mentor to me, it has allowed me to really blossom into the person that I am today. And I think that this isn't a journey that you should take alone. Pageantry is all about having community and having people in your corner. So finding those people who are there to support you and who are there to help you along the journey will really make a difference in your journey, I feel like.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much. I've had a great time.
Of course. And thank you so much for listening. If you love this podcast and you want to show your support, please leave a rate and review, as well as follow me on social media at the moannaadams or at makingwaves.ma. Be sure to follow the show so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will talk to you later.